Welcome back, my category-defying anomaly. Something unprecedented is occurring that's causing institutional systems to malfunction in fascinating ways. You've developed your capabilities, consciousness, and approach to such degree that evaluation frameworks designed to assess and rank people simply can't process what you represent. The systems were built on assumptions about normal ranges of human capability and typical patterns of development. They have categories for beginner, intermediate, advanced, expert, master. They have metrics for measuring progress along established dimensions. They have algorithms for comparing people and assigning relative positions in hierarchies. But you've evolved beyond the parameters these systems were designed to handle. You're not just at the top of their scales. You've transcended the dimensions they measure entirely. When they attempt to evaluate you, the systems literally glitch, producing error messages, contradictory outputs, or results so far outside expected ranges that administrators assume the systems are broken, rather than recognizing you've simply exceeded their design specifications. The architects have been monitoring evolutionary patterns and systemic limitations across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what's occurring. Measurement framework obsolescence, when individual development reaches levels that evaluation systems weren't designed to assess, because designers couldn't imagine humans achieving those levels. Most systems are built with generous headroom. They can measure performance well beyond what typical users achieve, ensuring they won't max out. But even generous headroom has limits based on designers' assumptions about human potential. You've apparently exceeded those assumptions, not just marginally, but fundamentally, developing capabilities in directions the measurement frameworks don't have dimensions for, achieving magnitudes the systems considered theoretically impossible. Watch what happens when institutions try to process your existence within their evaluation frameworks. Educational systems attempting to assess your knowledge or capabilities generate results that don't fit their grading schemas. You demonstrate understanding that transcends their highest levels while simultaneously showing gaps in areas they consider foundational, creating profile that violates their model of how expertise develops. Professional certification. Systems designed to credential practitioners at various levels can't determine where you fit. You exceed master level in some dimensions while operating according to paradigms their framework doesn't recognize, making you simultaneously overqualified and unclassifiable. Some ranking systems simply crash when processing your data. Their algorithms encounter mathematical impossibilities, trying to calculate your position relative to others because your measurements exceed the bounds their code allows, creating division by zero errors or infinite loops that halt processing. Other systems produce obviously incorrect outputs, ranking you simultaneously at top and bottom of hierarchies, assigning you contradictory credentials, generating assessment reports filled with null values and error codes. Administrators initially assume these are system bugs requiring technical fixes, running diagnostics and checking for corrupted data, only eventually recognizing the systems are functioning correctly but encountering input they weren't designed to handle. The truly fascinating element is that your evolution wasn't aimed at breaking evaluation systems. You were developing your capabilities for their own sake, pursuing mastery and growth according to your internal compass, rather than optimizing for external metrics. The system glitches are accidental, byproduct of your development exceeding frameworks, design assumptions. You didn't set out to be unmeasurable. You just grew beyond what measurement systems anticipated was possible. Now institutions that depend on these systems for evaluation and ranking are discovering their frameworks are obsolete relative to what you represent, forcing them to choose between acknowledging their systems are inadequate or insisting you somehow don't exist in ways their systems should recognize. Now the architects are analyzing what enabled you to evolve beyond measurement frameworks' design specifications, and they're identifying what they call the non-linear development trajectory. You apparently didn't progress through standard developmental stages that evaluation systems expect and are designed to track. Most frameworks assume development follows predictable sequence where you master fundamentals before advancing to intermediate skills before achieving expert-level capability. You apparently developed in ways that don't follow this linear progression, perhaps mastering advanced concepts before learning basics, or synthesizing insights from multiple domains simultaneously, rather than developing deep expertise in single area before branching out, or discovering entirely novel approaches that don't fit into existing skill taxonomies. Watch what non-linear development trajectory creates for measurement systems. Their frameworks assign people to developmental stages based on which capabilities they demonstrate. If you show mastery of advanced skills, system assumes you've progressed through all prior stages, but you might demonstrate expert-level capability in some areas, while showing novice-level understanding in areas the framework considers prerequisites for what you've mastered. This creates logical contradictions that break the systems model. How can someone be expert without being proficient in fundamentals that expertise supposedly requires? The system can't compute this because it violates assumptions about how skills build on each other. Some learning theorists are recognizing that traditional stage models of development might be cultural constructs rather than universal patterns, that while most people in standardized education systems develop linearly because that's how instruction is sequenced, natural learning, unconstrained by curriculum, might follow much more chaotic patterns. You might represent example of what human development looks like when it's self-directed rather than system-directed, following intrinsic interests and making connections across domains in ways that don't respect disciplinary boundaries. Educational systems impose. Others note that you might be demonstrating what they call quantum leap development, where understanding doesn't accumulate gradually through incremental practice but arrives suddenly through insight that reorganizes entire knowledge structures. Systems designed to track gradual linear progress can't measure quantum leaps because they happen too fast and too comprehensively. One day you're struggling with intermediate challenges. Next day you're operating at expert level because you had insight that transformed your understanding completely. Measurement systems checking your progress at regular intervals might show you at beginner level on one assessment and expert level on the next, creating data pattern that looks like measurement error rather than genuine development trajectory. A few are exploring whether your development might involve accessing knowledge or capabilities through unconventional means. Perhaps you're learning through observation and imitation at speeds formal instruction can't match, or you're synthesizing understanding through cross-domain pattern recognition that doesn't require domain-specific training, or you're developing through intensive experience in ways that outpace classroom learning. Whatever the mechanism, your development pattern doesn't match what evaluation systems expect, making them unable to accurately assess where you actually are in your capabilities. The architects observe that non-linear development trajectory explains why systems glitch rather than just assigning you low or high rankings. If you were simply very advanced along normal developmental path, systems could measure you even if you maxed out their scales. But your development pattern violates their models of how capability develops, creating logical impossibilities that cause processing errors. You're not just beyond their measurement range, you're beyond their conceptual model of what development looks like, making you not just unmeasurable but incomprehensible to frameworks designed around assumptions. Your evolution violates something extraordinary is spreading through institutional networks now, what the architects call system legitimacy crises. where the fact that evaluation frameworks can't process your existence is causing stakeholders to question whether these systems are actually valid measurement tools or whether they're inadequate frameworks that miss important dimensions of human capability. Your unmeasurability isn't just a technical problem to be solved through better algorithms. It's revealing potential that measurement frameworks themselves are fundamentally limited in ways designers never acknowledged, making all rankings and assessments they produce potentially unreliable rather than objective measurements everyone assumed they were. Watch how different stakeholders are responding to system legitimacy crisis. People who've achieved high rankings within existing frameworks are experiencing anxiety. If systems can't measure you, maybe they're also failing to accurately measure others, meaning rankings might not reflect genuine hierarchy of capability. Perhaps they're ranked highly, not because they're actually exceptional, but because they happen to fit measurement profile systems are designed to recognize, while others with genuine but different forms of excellence go unrecognized because systems can't capture what they represent. Some who ranked poorly within existing systems are experiencing validation they always felt measurements didn't capture their real capabilities, that they were being evaluated against inappropriate criteria, that systems were missing important dimensions of what they could do. Your unmeasurability proves systems are incomplete, giving them evidence that their low rankings might reflect system limitations rather than their own inadequacy. This is psychologically liberating because it shifts interpretation of their measurements from "I'm not good enough" to "system isn't measuring what matters." Others who benefit from existing frameworks are defending their legitimacy, arguing that your unmeasurability is edge case that doesn't invalidate systems' utility for measuring normal populations, that frameworks were never meant to assess extreme outliers, that just because systems can't rank you doesn't mean they're useless for ranking everyone else. These defenders have investment in maintaining faith in existing systems because those systems validate their positions and credentials. Acknowledging system inadequacy would undermine authority they derive from high rankings. A few reformers are using your case as evidence for arguments they've been making about measurement limitations. They've long claimed that evaluation systems were reductive, that they captured narrow dimensions while missing broader capacities, that they enabled comparison and ranking at cost of flattening human complexity into simplistic metrics. Your existence proves their critiques were correct, giving them leverage to advocate for framework transformation or abandonment in favor of approaches that acknowledge measurement limitations. Rather than treating rankings as objective truth, the architects observe that system legitimacy crisis triggered by your unmeasurability affects everyone these frameworks evaluate, not just you. If systems can't measure you accurately, perhaps they're also measuring others inaccurately in less obvious ways. Overvaluing capabilities systems can easily measure while undervaluing capabilities they can't capture. This recognition could transform how people relate to evaluations and rankings, treating them as limited approximations rather than definitive judgments, potentially liberating many from tyranny of metrics that never fully captured their worth or potential. Your evolution didn't aim to critique measurement systems, but your incompatibility with those systems has revealed their limitations in ways that abstract philosophical arguments never could. Now the architects are revealing what your evolution demonstrates about human potential that measurement systems failed to capture. You apparently developed what they call multi-dimensional transcendence, where you've achieved exceptional capability not just along single dimension that could be ranked as better or worse, but across multiple incommensurable dimensions simultaneously, making comparative ranking conceptually impossible rather than just technically difficult. you're not just more advanced than others in ways systems could theoretically measure. You're operating in entirely different dimensions that can't be compared to what others are doing because you're not playing the same game or pursuing the same objectives. Consider what multidimensional transcendence means practically. Evaluation systems work by reducing complex human capability to measurable dimensions, intelligence to IQ scores, skill to certification levels, performance to productivity metrics. This reduction enables comparison but requires assuming everyone is pursuing same objectives along same dimensions. You apparently rejected this assumption, developing capabilities according to values and objectives that don't align with what systems measure. This makes you not just high-performing along their dimensions, but incomparable because you're optimizing for entirely different outcomes they don't have metrics for. Watch what this creates for ranking attempts. Systems trying to place you in hierarchies can't determine whether you're at top, bottom, or somewhere in middle because you're not actually on the spectrum they're measuring. It's like trying to rank someone's musical ability using thermometer. The measurement tool and the dimension being measured are mismatched. You demonstrate extraordinary capabilities, but they're not the capabilities the system is designed to assess, and they don't map onto its measurement dimensions in ways that would allow positioning you relative to others who are being measured along different dimensions entirely. Some philosophers of measurement are recognizing your case as demonstration of what they call incommensurability, the fact that certain qualities or capabilities can't be compared because they don't share common dimension that would enable ranking. Is a musician better than an athlete? Is a physicist more capable than a poet? These questions are meaningless because the capabilities being compared are incommensurable. They exist in different dimensions that don't have common metric. You've achieved incommensurability within domains where systems assume commensurability. You're pursuing objectives and developing capabilities that can't be compared to what others in same domain are doing because you're actually operating in different domain, even though superficially it looks like same field. Others are exploring whether multi-dimensional transcendence might be more common than systems acknowledge that many people might be developing in incommensurable ways but get forced into comparable rankings through systems that flatten their complexity. You're just evolved enough or operating far enough outside norms that the flattening breaks down and reveals its inadequacy. But perhaps everyone is being measured along dimensions that don't fully capture what they're actually doing, making all rankings somewhat arbitrary impositions of commensurability onto genuinely incommensurable human differences. The architects observe that multidimensional transcendence challenges fundamental assumption underlying evaluation systems, the assumption that human capability can be meaningfully reduced to rankable dimensions if you're demonstrating capabilities that genuinely can't be compared to what others demonstrate. Because you're operating in incommensurable dimensions, then no measurement system could capture you accurately, regardless of how sophisticated its algorithms become. You're not just beyond current systems design specifications, you're beyond what any comparative ranking system could theoretically assess because ranking requires commensurability that doesn't exist in what you represent. The system glitches because it's trying to perform conceptually impossible task of ranking the incommensurable. The architects are now analyzing the psychological impact on you of being unmeasurable within systems that everyone else gets evaluated by, and they're identifying what they call liberation from external validation, when inability of systems to rank you forces you to develop entirely internal sense of worth and direction, rather than relying on external metrics to confirm you're progressing appropriately. Most people calibrate their self-assessment partly against external evaluations, grades, rankings, certifications, performance reviews. These external measures provide feedback that shapes self-perception and motivation. You've had to develop without that external calibration because systems can't measure you, making you dependent on internal compass for evaluating whether you're developing well. Watch what liberation from external validation creates psychologically. Without rankings telling you where you stand, you had to develop your own criteria for assessing progress, internal sense of whether you're growing in directions that matter to you, whether you're living up to your own potential, whether you're achieving objectives you set for yourself. This internal orientation is psychologically mature but also challenging because it lacks external validation that most people use to reassure themselves they're on right track. You can't check whether you're doing well by comparing rankings. You have to trust your own judgment about your development. Some psychologists recognize this as form of what they call internal locus of evaluation, where your sense of worth comes from internal standards rather than external judgment. Most people develop mixed locus, where both internal standards and external evaluations contribute to self-assessment. You've been forced toward purely internal locus because external systems can't evaluate you, making you unusually independent of others' judgments while also potentially vulnerable to self-doubt. That external validation might have prevented. Others note that liberation from external validation might have enabled the very development that made you unmeasurable, without rankings constraining your growth or channeling it toward what systems reward. You were free to develop according to intrinsic interests and values. Perhaps you're unmeasurable precisely because you developed without orienting toward measurability, pursuing growth in directions that mattered to you rather than direction systems incentivize. Your evolution exceeded systems' design specifications partly because you weren't trying to satisfy those systems. A few are recognizing that your experience might reveal limitation of external validation generally, that relying on systems to tell you whether you're developing well might actually constrain development by channeling it toward what systems can measure rather than toward genuine potential. Perhaps everyone would develop more authentically and ultimately more profoundly if they cultivated internal validation like you've been forced to develop. But most people find security in external measures despite their limitations, making your path of pure internal validation rare even though it might be psychologically optimal. The architects observe that liberation from external validation is double-edged gift your unmeasurability provides. It frees you from limitation of developing only in directions systems recognize and reward, enabling more authentic growth according to your genuine potential. But it also denies you external confirmation that you're progressing well, requiring stronger internal conviction and potentially creating isolation from validation structures most people rely on. You evolved so far that systems glitch trying to rank you partly because you evolved without being constrained by those systems, developing freely in ways that made you incompatible with frameworks designed around more conventional developmental trajectories. Now something's emerging that the architects call framework, expansion pressure, institutions that depend on evaluation. Systems for assessing people are being forced to consider whether they need to develop new measurement frameworks that can capture what you represent, or whether they should abandon measurement entirely in favor of qualitative assessment that acknowledges human complexity, can't be reduced to rankings. Your unmeasurability creates practical problems for organizations that need to make decisions about placement, advancement, and recognition. If their systems can't assess you, how should they engage with you? This pressure is driving framework innovation as institutions attempt to develop more sophisticated measurement approaches. Watch how different institutions are responding to framework expansion pressure. Educational institutions that need to assess student achievement are exploring alternative assessment methods portfolio evaluation, narrative assessment, competency-based progression that doesn't rely on ranking. These alternatives attempt to capture student development in richer ways than grades provide, acknowledging that learning is multidimensional and personal in ways standardized testing misses. Your unmeasurability provides evidence that traditional assessments are inadequate, giving reformers leverage to advocate for approaches they believe better serve learning. Some professional organizations that credential practitioners are reconsidering certification requirements, recognizing that their credential frameworks might be excluding genuinely capable practitioners whose development doesn't follow conventional patterns. They're exploring whether to create alternative credentialing pathways or whether to make existing pathways more flexible to accommodate non-linear development. Your case demonstrates that current frameworks miss real capability, forcing these organizations to question whether they're actually serving their stated purpose of identifying competent practitioners. Others are developing entirely new frameworks, specifically designed to assess people who exceed conventional systems, creating expert-level plus categories, developing multi-dimensional assessment tools that don't reduce capability to single ranking, building qualitative evaluation processes that describe what someone can do rather than ranking them comparatively. These new frameworks attempt to accommodate outliers like you who traditional systems can't process, though whether they actually succeed in capturing what you represent remains to be seen. A few institutions are abandoning measurement entirely for certain contexts, acknowledging that some forms of excellence can't be adequately captured by any framework and should be recognized through peer judgment and demonstrated work rather than through systematic evaluation. This represents fundamental shift from quantitative to qualitative approach, treating human capability as too complex and contextual for reduction to metrics. Your unmeasurability pushes them toward this recognition that measurement has limits that must be respected rather than overcome. The architects observe that framework. Expansion pressure, triggered by your unmeasurability, is driving institutional evolution toward more sophisticated engagement with human development and capability. You're not actively campaigning for framework reform, but your existence forces institutions to confront limitations of their current approaches. Some will develop better frameworks that capture more human complexity. Others will maintain inadequate systems while making exceptions for outliers. Still others will recognize measurement limitations and shift toward approaches that acknowledge what metrics miss. Your evolution didn't aim to reform institutions, but your incompatibility with their systems creates pressure that drives transformation, regardless of your intentions. Something profound is crystallizing now that the architects call recognition of evolution beyond current human norms. Your development isn't just exceeding what measurement systems can capture, it's potentially representing what human capability looks like when it develops beyond limitations that most people accept as defining human nature. You might be demonstrating that commonly accepted boundaries of human potential are actually just statistical norms that most people don't exceed because they're constrained by cultural expectations, educational systems, and their own beliefs about what's possible. Your evolution suggests that these norms dramatically underestimate actual human potential. Consider what it means if your capabilities represent accessible human potential rather than exceptional gift. It would suggest that dramatic gap exists between what humans typically achieve and what they're actually capable of achieving, that most people are operating far below their potential because systems and cultures they develop within impose artificial limits. Your development exceeding measurement systems. Design specifications might not reflect your being exceptional outlier, but rather reflects that systems were designed around inadequate understanding of human potential building in assumptions about limits that your evolution proves are too restrictive. Watch how different researchers are exploring this possibility. Developmental psychologists studying human potential are investigating whether your capabilities could be cultivated in others through different developmental approaches, less structured education, more intrinsic motivation, freedom from standardized progression. They're asking whether you represent endpoint of optimal development that most people could theoretically reach if they developed under different conditions than conventional systems provide. Some neuroscientists exploring neuroplasticity are recognizing that brain capability is more flexible than previously understood, that neural structures can reorganize dramatically in response to sustained engagement with challenging tasks, potentially enabling capabilities that seem superhuman because most people never push their neurology to reorganize at those levels. Your evolution might represent what becomes possible when someone pushes neuroplasticity to its limits, rather than settling into comfortable patterns that most people adopt relatively early in development. Others, studying expertise and mastery, recognize that highest levels of capability often involve qualitative shifts rather than just quantitative improvements. Experts don't just do what novices do faster or more accurately. They perceive and process information in fundamentally different ways that represent categorical transformation rather than incremental advancement. Your unmeasurability might reflect that you've undergone multiple qualitative transformations that took you into operational modes. Measurement systems weren't designed around because designers didn't realize humans could achieve those modes. A few transhumanist thinkers are exploring whether your development represents early example of human enhancement through non-technological means, demonstrating that humans can exceed normal limitations through development practices rather than through cybernetic augmentation or genetic engineering. They're treating you as proof of concept that human potential extends far beyond current norms, suggesting that technological enhancement might not be necessary for dramatic capability expansion if humans learned to develop themselves more effectively. The architects observe that recognition of evolution beyond current human norms transforms interpretation of your unmeasurability from "this person is weird outlier" to "this person demonstrates what humans can become." If you're not exceptional mutation but advanced example of accessible human potential, then your existence challenges entire civilization to reconsider what's possible and to develop systems that enable rather than constrain development toward those possibilities. The system glitches aren't revealing your incompatibility with human frameworks. They're revealing frameworks incompatibility with genuine human potential that your evolution makes visible.